Hi, my name is Rachel. Welcome back to another video. So for my June wrap up, I thought it would be fun to include some stats. I don't know if that's something that you enjoy seeing, and if it is, let me know in the comments down below, or let me know if you prefer just jumping right into the books. So for my stats, I read 5 books, which was a good reading month for me overall because I've been having a terrible reading year, as we all know. So I'll start with star ratings. I read 1 3-star book, I read 3 4-star books, and I read 1 5-star book. For my formats, I listened to 2 books on audio. I read 2 of these books physically, and 1 of these books was an ebook. For ages, 3 of these books were adult, and 2 of these books were YA. 3 of these books I read for the first time, and 2 of these books were rereads. The first book I read was Mrs. Death, Mrs. Death, and I listened to this on audio. I could not tell you the plot of this book if my life depended on it. I'm not really sure that there was a plot where it's like beginning action, rising action, climax, but there definitely was a slice of life, philosophical, existential crisis vibe about it. It sounds weird when I say it that way, but this book really made me think about life and death, and it made me think about the meaning of things, the meaning of existence itself. And the audiobook was narrated by the author herself, and she did an amazing job. Her voice was so beautiful and captivating. I found myself sitting and staring at the wall while listening to it, and normally I'm playing like a puzzle game or doing chores when I listen to audiobooks, but there were a few moments in this book where I just had to kind of stop and listen and just stare off into space because I was so captivated with what she was saying. A lot of it was confusing. There were some metaphors in there that definitely went over my head, and that's probably why I gave it a 3.5 stars, because some of it I didn't understand, and I definitely didn't understand if there was a plot. It was hard to tell the way that the story was told, but regardless, I had a great time reading it. It made me cry, it made me laugh, and it made me question my existence as a whole, and I think it sent me into a spiral. The next book I read in June was The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo, and I gave this book 5 stars. It was so good. It gave me like gothic vibes. It kind of gave me like that Hunchback of Notre Dame feel where like the church is the bad guy, and we're following Esmeralda and she's like against the church and trying to survive. This book gave me those feelings, but not French. So this book takes place in Madrid, and we follow a character named Lucia, and she has a small magic. It's very helpful in her daily life. She can repair burnt bread, she can repair ripped clothing, she can double the quantity of carrots that she has. She can't do anything extravagant with her magic, but it is very useful to her. And one day her mistress finds out that she can do these things, and she tries to exploit her and use her magic to garner favor and influence with the other socialites and noble families. So Lucia is living as a Jew in like a very Catholic centered Madrid. So not only is she trying to keep her small miracles hidden, her milagratos hidden, she is also trying to keep her blood a secret. She's trying to keep her Jewish heritage a secret because Jews are being persecuted and murdered. So she is trying to fly under the radar as a good Catholic housemaid. And once her mistress finds out about her magic, the stakes become a little bit higher, and Lucia has to deal with the repercussions of getting caught and everything that ensues afterwards. This story felt so beautifully woven, absolutely stunning writing. I could feel the personal love and connection that Leigh Bardugo had for this story. You can tell the way that she talks about family and grief and survival, that those things were very near and dear to her heart, and I thought it was beautiful. I think Lucia is a character you really want to root for. Like, you just want her to live a better life, and you just want her to survive the circumstances that she's in. And she gets up to shenanigans. I don't want to spoil anything, but she gets up to some shenanigans. And I think that her resilience and her intelligence are very under the radar, and you don't notice it at first, and it kind of sneaks up on you. All of a sudden you're like, wow, I love her and I'm rooting for her. I need her to succeed. There's also a side character in here called Santangel. I will not tell you anything about him because the fun of Santangel is finding out about him on your own as you slowly and painstakingly uncover more information about him. The Familiar, Leigh Bardugo, 5 out of 5 stars. The writing was incredible. I thought it was great. I wish it was longer and I wish it wasn't a standalone. I would absolutely love to read another book in this world, in this series. It's not a series, but I wish it was. And that is a very large truck, and the top of my street has a sign that says no trucks. They don't listen.
Only buses.
Only buses, yeah. And the next book I read in June was The Solstice Court by Jade Juniper. This was a reread for me. I got to beta read for Jade a couple months ago, end of last year maybe. I don't know what is time anymore. But
What the heck is he?
my lips are not working today.
Mine either.
Yours either. But The Solstice Court is about a young girl named Kezra who is a princess, and she has a lot of pressures placed on her by her mother and father. She has a lot of obligations and responsibilities that even people outside of court expect from her, and I think she wants to find her own way in the world. So we follow Kezra and her group of friends as they navigate the Solstice Court and everything that entails. Kezra is a dreamer. She just wants to see the world, but she can't, and I won't tell you why. You'll have to find out on your own. And I think that she is scared to disappoint people, but she's trying to be true to herself. And unfortunately, that gives her a lot of inner turmoil and strife as she tries to navigate the world.
Navigate the world to me too.
Navigate. Very good. Also in the Solstice Court, there is a larger plot that's kind of like an umbrella plot, and then we follow the main plot in book 1. So in the Solstice Court, there are 3 main kingdoms. 2 of them are at war, and 1 of them is very neutral, and it's a lot of political tensity. Did I just make that word up? Tensity. Tension? There's a lot of political tension because they did all used to be friends. All 3 kingdoms are led by rulers who knew each other in their youth via, royal engagements, etc. And the Solstice Court lies in Elisor, which is the neutral kingdom. So Kezra has to deal with the pressures placed upon her by her family, her court, the people of the city outside of the Solstice Court. So basically, we're just following Kezra through this political tense time as she navigates the expectations placed on her, trying to make her friends happy, trying to make her parents happy, trying to make herself happy, and shenanigans ensue. There's political tenseness. There's a lot of court politics, court drama. There's witty banter, snide remarks. There's moments that make me laugh. There's moments that make me gasp, moments that made me furious. Highly recommend. I gave it 4.5 stars. I think it was amazing, especially for a debut. Incredible. The writing is beautiful, you guys. Highly recommend. I think that you will love this book if you like the found family aspect of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I also think that you will like this book if you like Pride and Prejudice, and I can't explain why, but I just really do. And I think that you will like this book if you want characters that you can see yourself in. I found little pieces of every single character that I could relate to, at least the main cast. There were a lot of side characters. We're not talking about them, but in the main cast of characters, I related to them all in some way, shape, or form at one point or another during the story. And it was just really nice to see things. Riley. And it was just nice to see that representation in a book. The next book I read in June was Nona the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. This book is crazy. This is the 3rd book in the Locked Tomb series, and it follows a character named Nona. I don't want to spoil the other 2 series at all, so I'm just going to tell you. In Gideon the Ninth, which is the 1st book, you follow Gideon Nav as she tries to become something she's not. And ultimately, how do I explain? What can I tell you without spoiling the other 2 books? Nona doesn't know who she is. She's lost her memory. There are side characters in here who are trying to help her remember who she is. There's some zombies. I'm explaining it terribly. Nona is a very endearing character. She is so sweet and gentle and kind, and we just kind of see her navigating her life, learning how to do basic things because she lost her memory, and she kind of lost a lot of basic human things in that memory loss. There's a lot going on in the world around her. There are zombies rising up, there's necromancy, there's looming danger, and all Nona wants is a birthday party. And she is such a sweet character. I found myself really rooting for her by the end. And the end... This is so hard to explain these books. Why does Tamsin Muir write these books that you can't explain what they're about without any coherency or spoiling it? If you haven't already, read Gideon the Ninth. I think this series is incredible, and I can't wait to reread it. Now that I've read the first 3, the 4th book hasn't come out yet. I just want to reread the first 3 back to front, front to back, until I have every aspect of these books memorized, because I kind of feel like an idiot when I read them. I don't feel like I'm smart enough for them, but I wish I was. I gave it a 4 stars. Read Nona. And I should point out that this is one of those books that I think upon a reread, it would get a 5 stars. The 4 stars is mainly because I spent this much of the book confused out of my mind. but that's on me and not on the book at all. And the last book I read in June was another reread, and this was volume 1 of Tokyo Ghoul. So I've already read the first 9 volumes of Tokyo Ghoul, but that was quite a while ago, and then I never continued the series because my library didn't have the rest of the volumes at the time. However, they definitely have them now. So I decided to start my reread and finish the series. Tokyo Ghoul follows a young boy named Kaneki, and he is a human at first, and then lo and behold, some shit happens and he ends up being a half human, half ghoul hybrid. And so Tokyo Ghoul is the story of him, his life, him trying to navigate being in the human world and learning about ghouls and learning how to deal with his new biological status. And that's about all I can tell you without spoiling it. I like Tokyo Ghoul because I don't know, I love a good action like anime and manga. I love the art style. It is very like dark. There's a lot of black involved. There's not a lot of white space on the pages. It is very gory in some parts, but I'm like fine with that. I like it. And I gave this a 4 stars. That's everything that I read in June. Let me know your favorite book that you read last month. And if you've made it this far, leave the rainbow emoji because June was Pride Month. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!